It's time again for my project share for the Smash That Small Pad collaboration, and just wanted to share with you how I used up the pad and the different cards I made. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the Smash Those Small Pads collaboration that I do. It's a small collab that I do with Sarah, who is crafting and relaxing here on YouTube, and Kathy, who is Stampin' Cat on Instagram. And basically each month we are to pick a pad smaller than 12 by 12 that we can work through. I deviated a little bit this month, and instead of an actual pad, I did a kit. It was an old Scrapping for Less kit, and so it was all like 6 by 6 papers that were in the different collections. So that is what I did. And like I said, there's 4 different collections in each kit, and so I kind of have my cards here separated by the different collections. I had used a little bit of it in the past, but there was the bulk of all the collections were left. So I have sketches for some, and then some of the other ones I just put a card together based on the pieces that were left. This is Tall and Skinny. It's a Mojo Monday sketch number 378. It's tall and skinny, which means like it was meant more for like a slimline type card. I just adapted it to an A2 size card, really just using the strips here. And then this collection had some ephemera pieces with it that I had left, so I used those. I tried to use up all the enamel dots in the kit, and I think I did, which is a first for me. I normally forget about using the enamel dots. And then because this was a cardstock piece that was in the kit, and so I just used it as a card base and then added some white paper on the inside so that it can be written on. This is Freshly Made Sketches 294. And I made 2 of these. I just took 2 different patterns and was able to cut like both pieces, both patterns into the same pieces and get like 2 of the same cards. And then this is some more of that cute little ephemera that was in the kit. And stamps, I did use some of the stamps from the kit, but then I also brought in some other stamps from my stash. And on the normal white card bases, I do have scraps on the inside. This was one where I was just trying to use up the last bits. Had 2 strips, and so I just covered the center here with a strip of a different pattern. And then this was a sentiment I just had sitting on my desk that I had printed out from my silhouette, and then some enamel dots. The next collection, I didn't start with the sketch, but it's what's on top. My favorite, Operation Ride Home, sketch number 154. It's great when you get down to the end and you have strips left that you can cut into 1.5 inch squares. So I have several of these, and I used a combination of cardstock that was in the kit, and I ran out of red and green, so I did bring some more of that in from my stash. I had stamped out, this was one of the stamp sets that was actually in the kit, and so I used that, created a little tag. There was ribbon in the kit, and I had used it on another card, and so this is what I had left, and so I couldn't even like make a real bow. I didn't have enough left, but I decided to kind of make a faux bow, if you will, and then covered the center there with one of the enamel dots that was left. So at least I used up that ribbon. Just another version. Here's one with green background. This was one I just had 2 strips left, and then went into my card mat stash, and I had this black mat, but then I also had the smaller red piece, which is like smaller than a normal mat, but it had the stitched edging, and so I decided to bring it in, and then just took 2 different scraps that I had to kind of piece them together on here. And then this Joy is actually a vinyl scrap. It was already on this cardstock piece in my stash, and so just decided to use that up as well. Peace on Earth is actually from one of the Scrapping for Less sets that was in the kit. This one I was trying to use up some of the bigger, I think I had some full-size sheets left, so used one as, or kind of grouped them together and picked one pattern that went with one of the kind of B sides of the paper, like more of a subtle background, and then same thing on that one. And then this was one I had actually made before, but it was in the kit, and it used a stencil that came with the kit. And then this is where I first used the ribbon. So did not make that one this time, but that was still with the kit. Next was a fun plaid collection. This is My Favorite Things, sketch number 180. And there are, I thought there were 2 of these. Yeah. This one I forgot to do the fishtail on the bottom, but remembered to do it for that one. Just kind of grouped some of the different patterns together, brought in just another stamp from my stash. This was just an ephemera piece left from something else. Trying to use up some odds and ends as well. The deconstructed sketch number 129. And this one just helped me use up like some of those full size. So I cut this piece down, and then I used some of the strips that were left to go across some other cards. So just kind of like laid them all out and kind of, mixed and matched the strip part. And then Joy is vinyl, a vinyl word. I had cut out some scrap vinyl and just put it on a big black stitched circle. Just thought that kind of stood out. And then I did bring in another layer here behind this pattern piece, and I kind of changed up the matte piece, like the card matte, and then the matte layer from my pattern piece. So there's a combination of red, white, green, and black on all of these. And then I either used enamel dots or brought in some vinyl circles from my stash to kind of dress them up a little bit. This one I had one of my stenciled pieces left, so I just trimmed it down to put across the front of that one. Those were fun. I enjoyed the plaid. And then this one, so if you know Sarah, who's crafting and relaxing, you know joy is one of her favorite words. And so I thought of her when I made this batch, but I also thought of her when I made this batch because it was all blues, whites, and grays. So I tried to channel my inner Sarah and have fun creating with the blues for Christmas. This sketch is actually a sketch that I drew up, and it's a way to use a full 6x6 piece without any scraps. And it's basically you take your 6x6 piece, you cut a 4x5 1/4 piece, which becomes like your mat. Then you have like a little strip left from the top of this piece, which fits perfectly on the inside of the card. And then from that 2-inch strip that you have left, I do a 4 3/4 inch piece. And this can vary depending on like whether or not you want to mat. Like sometimes I'll mat this, sometimes I just leave it as is. And then when you cut that down, you're left with a 1 1/4 inch piece, which I just use here to kind of anchor a sentiment. And I've done this before. Sometimes this can be an ephemera piece. It just all depends on the paper I'm working with and what I'm playing with. But so I just did all of these, picked the sides that I wanted to use, cut everything down, and then just mixed and matched the strip here with the background. And then I brought in stars in a lot of places. Like I just took a small star punch and punched it out of some of the scrap, either cardstock or patterns that I had. And the Peace on Earth stamp, I even stamped it in blue. I never stamp in blue. I even stamped the sentiment in blue, just for you, Sarah. So that's those. And then this one, I just used all the scraps I had left and used one of the cardstocks that came in the kit as my card base. So again, there's white on the inside, but just literally there was a circle. I was trying to figure out how to incorporate random strips, and so I just kind of put it all together and then added some more of my little vinyl circles down here. And then this is my favorite thing, sketch number 170. With the blues, I decided to make a Hanukkah card, and so I found one pattern that didn't have like snowflakes or stars on it. It was just kind of like, it's probably meant to be a starry night, but it just looks like polka dots. And so I had Happy Hanukkah was already stamped out in my little sentiment basket on my desk, and then went into my silhouette to find the Star of David, and then just added some white dots. So it's kind of a very basic card, but I did want to try and do at least one Hanukkah card out of all that wonderful blue. And from one of the collections, I had some little bits and pieces left and some cardstock scraps. So I just took the pattern paper, matted it on a cardstock piece, and had trimmed everything into like tag shape, like rounded the bottom a little bit and did the tag angles on the top. And then used one of the stamp sets that has some, there were several like good tag stamps, but I just took this North Pole Express Mail one and then added a to and from on the back. So very simple tag. I didn't have anything really to embellish it with either, so just kind of left those as is. But that smashed the kit. So there were, I mean, the equivalent, there's 6 sheets in each of the 4 collections, so that's 24 sheets of 6x6 paper, so it's technically the equivalent of a 6x6 paper pad in many cases. So that's what I did for my small pad this month. Please be sure to check out the links to see what Sarah and Kathy worked on this month and what they made. Thank you guys so very much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.